Hello BookTube. So right now I'm going to do the Book Addict Tag. It was created by Elaine Howland, and I first learned about it through Steve Donahue's video. And I will link both down below. Hopefully I can get this in a few minutes because there is a live stream I want to watch that comes on in about 20 minutes. And of course, when I tried to make this video earlier, there was a live stream that was going to happen in about 15 minutes. I think the live stream coming up is Steve Donahue, Pints and Paperbacks, Paperback Junkie, and Mark Richardson of Richardson Reads are going to talk about the second Barsoom novel. And then earlier, Marla Baguetta, one of my favorite pastel artists on YouTube, had a live stream. And of course, while I was filming the video, the first version of this video, my brother called. And then I had a video call with my brother and 3/4 of the Children of the Apocalypse. So let's go through these questions. Question number 1. What is the longest amount of time you can go without picking up a book? Not very long. Not very long at all. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my cookbooks I just hauled. I don't really have much space for them, but I'll figure it out. Because I keep them in the kitchen, where, it makes more sense putting your cookbooks in the kitchen. Question number 2. How many books do you carry on your person or Kindle at any one time? Usually, I don't really count the Kindle because I use it mostly for internet. I have a few books on there, and I have a few books in Google Drive. They're PDF ebooks I downloaded, not downloaded, about 10 years ago, give or take. I would get a book on Project Gutenberg. I'd copy and then paste them into a PDF file, and then I'd save them to Google Drive. Haven't really looked at them, to be honest. And then I'm usually carrying around one book from here to the living room where I like to do most of my reading. And then if I'm traveling, I usually don't take a book unless it's going to be a long wait, usually medical. If I'm going to the library or something like that, I'll usually pick up books there. And as far as the library is concerned, I can go crazy. I've picked up 10, 11 books at a time. Some of the books are from my mom, but yeah. And then obviously also bookstores and stuff. Question number 3. Do you keep every book you buy or receive, or are you happy to pass them along? I think I prefer to keep the books I buy or receive. I will purge my collection if I run out of space, or if I'm low on money and I want to sacrifice some books to buy new books. Mostly this was years ago when I was in a major comic book manga kick. I would basically take a lot of my poetry books. Part of the reason my poetry collection is so paltry. Not that it ever was that spectacular. It always was rather paltry. And my literary and realistic and contemporary fiction are so paltry and so few. It's really just like my headboard bookcase. I would take them to Hastings and trade them in for credit, and then I would go and buy manga. Naruto, Fairy Tail, Bleach. And then eventually I traded those in for, I don't remember what I traded those in for. I'm kind of kicking myself that I ended up getting rid of all of them. I mean, obviously, if you watched my April haul, I recollected one of the cookbooks I had when I first moved into this apartment and got rid of because of space. And I've regretted it ever since. And I've slowly been working my way to recollecting those books. And there are several other books that I've unhauled over the years that I want to re-add to my collection. So I really don't like to get rid of books unless it's absolutely necessary. Question number 4. How long would you spend in a bookshop on a standard visit? Between 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how frequently I've gone. I don't go to bookstores all that often. I've had some pretty bad experiences. Not so much actually being in the store. It's always a lovely experience. It's the getting there. That's the problem. The last time I went to Golden's, I took the bus, and it was about an hour and a half trip because we went from my home through Moody, I think Bruceville Eddy, and then rounded around to eventually Waco, and then it just. By the time I got to Golden's, the bus to take me home was waiting for me. I mean, I managed to get about 30, 40 minutes extra to actually shop, but it was frustrating. That was it's happened since another trip, although we made it. Although in that case, there was a snafu with my mom's doctor's appointment. And then I went to the Friends of the Library book sale, and it was a fantastic experience again, but I had to wait about an hour and a half for my ride to pick me back up. So that's why as much fun as physically going to bookstores is, yeah. The transportation issues can sometimes be a nightmare, and you don't have those with buying online. Question number 5: how much time per day do you actually spend reading? It varies. Now, I really should expend my amount of reading time. I should really start reading about 1, and then read till 6:30 and making supper and doing the dishes and all of that. But I usually start reading at 3 because I will be on the computer from about 12:30 to 3, and then I'll go to the living room with a book, read, and then I'll start supper and do the dishes and then continue reading through the news until 6:30, and then I'll come back in here and I'll be on the computer watching YouTube, mostly BookTube. On the weekends, I read significantly more. I will start reading usually about 10 or 11, and then read on Saturdays. I'll read till 7, and then Sundays till 6. Unless it's football season and either the Texans or the Cowboys are playing, and then I'll continue reading through the game. And that I can get, so it can be a significant chunk of time, although I am stopping to make lunch or supper and doing dishes and whatever tasks I need to do in between. Question number 6. Where does the task of picking up a book appear on your daily to-do list? Now, if we're talking about just randomly picking up a book, it's rather high. I'm always sort of touching a book. or handling my books in one way or another. If it's book shopping, I usually once a week-ish, although more heavily early in the month and then a little less late into the month, because by then I've usually blown through my book budget if I don't break it, which I usually do. But anyway, question number 7. How many books do you reckon you own in total? Including ebooks. I'm going to exclude ebooks because I haven't counted them. I have a collection of Project Gutenberg PDFs in a Google Drive. I don't know how many there are. I haven't even looked at them in years. I think on my Kindle I have about 10, I think. I don't particularly use it that much. I'm not particularly a huge fan of the Kindle as a e-reader. In physical copy, I have 639. I have a catalog file where I log in all the books I physically own, and I did that this morning. I was going to film my April book haul at 12:30, and while I was doing the books, I was going to log the books in. Although now thinking about it, it would have been a nightmare. So I went ahead and logged in all the books, and the final total I have a 639, and it will go up in next week. Obviously, it always goes up. Question number 8. Approximately how often do you bring up books in conversation? 80%. Usually talking to myself. And obviously, also I'm always in the booktube conversation. But it's 80%. Some way or another, I'm always talking about books. Question number 9. What is the biggest book page count you have finished? I'm going to say The Lord of the Rings. I would like to say The Critical Tradition or the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism, but obviously I've only ever read selections of them. But so I'm pretty sure it's got to be The Lord of the Rings. There's a slim chance it could be one of the Ice of Fire books, but I've only read the first 3, and I don't think they started exceeding The Lord of the Rings until Feast for Crows. I think, don't quote me on that. And I've never read Brandon Sanderson, one of his big Stormlight Archive books, which I think are larger than The Lord of the Rings. Or it might be The Stand. I think it's The Lord of the Rings, but it could be The Stand. Okay. Book number 10. Is there a book you had to get your hands on against all odds? Yes, several. It's coming back again. This book, Japanese Cooking by Shizo Tsuji. I had it a few years ago, and I purged it, and I wanted it back ever since, as well as the 2 gourmet cookbooks. Right now I'm really wanting the Napoleonic Wars, A Global History by Alexander Mikaberidze, hoping I'm pronouncing it right. Post-Wall, Post-Square, I've wanted ever since I heard about it. The Franco-Prussian War, which I picked up last month. The Punic Wars by Adrian Goldsworthy, which I should be getting pretty soon. Also, so there's several books I really, really want. And I am making an effort to get them. Question number 11. A book you struggled to finish but refused to DNF. Drylands Inn by Felice Bacano. The absolute worst science fiction novel I have ever read and finished. It is just ridiculous. Prompt number 12. What are 3 of your main book goals for the year? So I want to try to read more from my local collection, the books I have here. I would also like to try to reread several books from my past. My second chances, or my revisit and second chances reading project. Also read some new literary, realistic, and contemporary fiction, and also increase the books I've read from around the world, and also read more history and collect more history, and also add to my bookshelves and try to expand my collection in general, which I think that is far more than 3 bookish goals. I'm an ambitious booktuber. Yeah, there's quite a bit. So this was actually quite a fun tag. So if you would like to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. And until next time, I will have probably an early Friday weekly reads tomorrow, because I don't know if I want to watch the Bon Appetit live stream. They're doing a charity benefit variety show, or if I want to watch some of the Netflix stuff I need to watch, because I want to try to get at least 2 movies, documentaries done tomorrow and Saturday, and then start on a series on Sunday night. So anyway, but until then, I will see you tomorrow, and until then, have a great evening or day or morning, and stay safe. Thank you both.